Hi, welcome to Woodstock on the Couch.
Yay.
You
I like the
join.
name. I
You
like
like
the
the
name.
name? You
I
like
do.
that?
I
That's
do.
cool, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Woodstock. You can join us too here on the couch. You can call us at 204-880-1564, and you can be on the couch with Don. Or you
That would
can
be
be on the
great.
couch with Woodstock. Woodstock on the couch. You like that
I
name,
love
isn't
it.
it?
I
Okay.
like it. I like it.
Today we're talking about homelessness. We're talking specifically with one of the Urban Night ladies
Yeah.
and
Thank you.
Street Patrol,
Yeah.
Kathy Harris.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay. And so, share a little bit of your experience today with us, Kathy. What did you do today?
Oh, we were out today. We were at Shalom. We were at the Gospel Mission. We were at Salvation Army.
Wow.
Very shortly, we're going to be heading to Ottawa to visit with the minister on homelessness. And so today we were talking with veterans, with residential school survivors. I got to tell you, the residential school survivors, they were a little hesitant about talking with us. I could
Yes.
feel that there was like this tension, and it's too bad. It's too bad because I think some of the information that we've asked them today about what their needs are, is it food, is it housing, is it counseling, what is it that they're in need of, that more of that information that they share with us, and the more that we share with, the ministers and stuff in Ottawa, it's going to go a long way for everyone.
Yes. Part of the thing that the Urban Night has done is reach out to veterans as well. And we
Yes.
happen to meet a
Yes.
few of them today on the street as we walk. For me, as one of the candidates in this civic election, we we have to look at ways and means to do a little bit more than we're doing now. We can do a lot more, but I think if we start by just finding the solution, we have the information already. We have done the studies, we have done the census, we have done all the things that we need to do to inform us and make that decision. What's missing is the political elites of this city are more intent on using the resources as they see fit for their own political gains as well as their friends and their cronies, I call
Are
it.
you talking about resources? What are you talking about? Are you talking about
Financial resources.
yeah, the taxpayers' dollars?
Taxpayers have been, we are in one of the most heavily taxed city in Canada. We have a business tax that is the last city to have business tax. Um, I would propose at the end of my first 4-year tenure, if the voters does select me as the mayor come November, is to
Yeah. Then they
eliminate
should.
and and I hope they do. But the elimination of the business tax, because I don't think we need to. What I think is missing is the bureaucrats. The bureaucrats of the city have literally run this thing to now it's a private network of clubs for themselves. So we end up with buildings like this one and others that are empty while people are homeless. Now, there is enough information out there that tells us that the taxpayers, the people who don't care much about the people who are on the street and they pass by and they point a finger at them in terms of those people and categorize them as those people. What I think most people are not aware of is that it costs the taxpayers more money to have these folks on the street that are homeless and the veterans on the street. It costs them, and I hope I'll be able to convey this to Ottawa, that we end up spending more than if we were to house them and give them an opportunity to move from their current state to a state where they're comfortable with. And we have met a few that have been on the street. We have discussion with them, and we have met a few even who have gone and spent some time doing things they're not supposed to be doing, but they're not proud of it. But at the same time, they recognize that the needs. Now, Can you see where this is going if we continue this trend, Kathy, or do we need to switch courses altogether? What do you think?
Let's switch courses altogether.
Okay, so what would be one of the suggestions that you think, based on your experiences at Urban Nights and Ladies, an angel on the street talking to folks, what would you think as one of the experience that you'd like to see?
I want to see people have a place where they can feel safe. Now, till now, the shelters, places like that, are helping folks.
Yes.
But it's a short-term thing. It's you reach about this level, and then it's not going any further. You're not getting folks to get off the street permanently. We need to go from here, and we need to go to here now. So
if I hear you correctly, because I've always thought that a lot of people see homelessness as a business to them.
they do.
And unfortunately, we are in the state where the 100 plus people, 100,000 plus folks that's in Winnipeg, that is quote unquote living below the poverty line or on the streets, whatever the case may be, a mixture of, we end up finding ways and means of creating a business. The Gappy Table, for example, have been around for 40 plus years serving the needs of the community. And a Gappy Table right now is looking for
A place,
place
to go. Yes,
to go.
yeah, they're losing their place.
because they're losing their place. And it shouldn't be. It right there alone tells me that something is wrong with the model.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
We currently have and the stats are in, the property tax, for example, of the city is 54% of its preliminary budget, preliminary operation budget for 2018. And
Their
look
current
what I mean,
revenue. That's their
Yes,
revenue, right? Yeah.
the revenue. We can talk about an interest on other charges at 7.4%, that we could have done something better on that.
Yeah.
What
what
we're
is that all
talking
about?
when
Other-
you can borrow money, you can borrow money these days at 3 and 4%,
Yeah, exactly.
depending on your credit. So why not to the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at frontage levy at, again, 5.8%. It's all taxes.
Yeah.
Why are we so heavily taxes? When at the same time is, if you look on another sheet that shows you how is the money spent in the operation budget. Well, street systems, solid waste, make up 25.6%. Okay? And
That's a lot.
the police services make up 27%. If you combine the police services and streets, alone is over
That's
50%
over 50.
of your budget.
Yeah.
The bureaucrats have let us down.
Who are the bureaucrats? Who are they?
All the people who makes $100,000 out of the city's coffers, that runs these various departments and heads these various departments, some of them $300,000. I firmly feel we need to have a little bit more accountability from them. We need to find a way to make sure they know, if you have this job is going to be one, whereas you're now going to be finding ways of means of cost-saving measures. We are $85 million in the red, and as a result of this $85 million in the red, we can't keep spending and collecting taxes. So we need a new model. What's your version of getting a new model for the city that is going to generate income into the city and stop depending on taxes from the people?
So are you going to ask that of all the candidates that are running, for mayor?
I would love every single candidate to come out and state that they have to be a new model
Right.
for the city of Winnipeg and its generation of income, because to depend on just taxes, I
Yeah.
don't think that is cool.
No.
Now, what's your version of it?
No, you know what? We need to take the taxpayers' dollars and put them into projects, into working sustainable models of business where if we take $5 of a taxpayer's dollar and we put it here, we intend on making $10 back. So let's start working that kind of model. Let's start bringing revenue in other than taxpayers' dollars.
Here, here.
What about the marijuana?
Oh, the city washes hands clean of it, and that's
They
a
did.
mistake.
Wow, what a mistake.
That's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
There are way more benefits along the marijuana line and byproducts and the benefits of marijuana. And let's call it for what it is. Politicians are afraid to talk about this issue, but but drugs and alcohol
Have been around forever.
have been around forever. But there's nobody calling for the banning of alcohol.
No.
And there's nobody calling for the banning of cigarettes, okay, which is equally harmful for you according to people.
Yeah.
So why do we call for the banning of marijuana? The fair tactics of the pharmaceutical company have led us down a wrong path to think that this is so dangerous that all of a sudden we're going to get ourselves into problems. Well, if we didn't get ourselves into problems with alcohol and tobacco, then why are we going to get our problems into the side business, the offspring business, the byproducts of marijuana, the
Like what?
byproducts of hemp, for clothing, for medicine, for
What about
medication.
replacement of plastic bags?
And even as simple as that is, simple but very efficient and effective. If we were doing hemp products instead of plastic products, we would not have the garbage patch in the sea as it is now. We wouldn't have our lakes being polluted. So there's it's a complex issue. But going back to the business of homelessness, for me, it's finding solution. And this election is
That's
going
what
to
you
be
are about,
around
finding solution.
finding solution. So solution number one would be to make sure the city takes stock of all derelict homes. Solution one is to know how many derelict homes we have in the city that's boarded up, as well as derelict buildings that are empty. This one is empty. The next question is, instead of us building a brand new 50-foot tower down Winnipeg center, downtown Winnipeg, let us revitalize the community. Let us redevelop the community by investing some of that money, because it will take a fraction of that 40 or 50 or 60 million dollars that the city is going to put out to convert this building, for example, into shelter, into homes.
Mm-hmm.
And
But weren't we talking about if we take a building like this, make it into like little apartments kind of style for the homeless?
affordable, with the word affordable.
Or affordable, yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
But then we put a business into it that the folks who live in this place actually work at that business that's in that place.
Rudy Giuliani did a wonderful thing for New York when he was mayor. He turned welfare into workfare.
Workfare. Yeah.
So what's missing is we have two hands, we have 2 feet, we have the brains, we have the understanding that we need to do something a little bit different so we can save the taxpayers. My campaign, it will be all about how we can save the taxpayer from being taxed any more than they are, but
Right.
more use whatever resources that we're collecting currently and start reducing taxes, but at the same time make for better roads, make for better shelters, make for solving the because Medicine Hat have shown us, and there are other cities in Canada.
That's right. Even Seattle
Seattle just embarked on a new program.
That's
so
right.
we have the information out there. We have the information that is at our fingertips that we can relate to, that would show that we can literally save more than just taxpayers' money, but we can save a life. We can
Right. Yeah.
we can
Exactly.
save a life by investing in our community at the local level. And I'm sorry, if a developer or a company or organization has the wherewithal to go to the bank and borrow $5-6 million, then go ahead and borrow 50 million or 100 million, 200 million, and build whatever building you want. And that's your business.
That's right.
But don't come to the city anymore if I
No.
am mayor, because the answer is going to be no.
No,
Okay.
no taxpayers' dollars to
you
your
ain't getting no
private building.
No, 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 no more,
no,
no more.
no.
And to all the CEOs and the CAOs of the city of Winnipeg, you're collecting a paycheck to manage an operation. It must, and I stress the word must, it must be managed efficiently and effectively. And no more excuses about, this lawyer missed a deadline, or people sign document that says
Behind
you
closed
can't
doors
sue.
and-
Like
Come
whoever signed
on.
those documents or whoever administered over those
Yeah.
documents need to be fired and need to be disbarred. There's no lawyer that worth its salt should be practicing law that gets you to sign a document like that in your all. But no, they deliberately do these things, and this is where the administration, this is where the bureaucrats.
Why do they deliberately do those things though?
Is
Is it to pad their wallets?
It's
Is
what I
it?
call an ism.
It's an ism. Yeah.
It's an ism, It's criminality disguised as incompetence. So they know they're doing it. They know it's wrong, but it's just a matter of saying, you know what? Oh, well, we didn't know. Or, oh, well, this
Yeah.
happened. And,
That's
oh,
how we'll play it. We
yeah,
didn't know.
well, we didn't know. No, man. No, man. No. Stop this.
Yeah,
This, okay?
exactly.
You know what the law is.
Yes.
You know what it is to sign a document with clause in there that protects the city, protects the taxpayers.
Yes.
You bring me those documents, I'll have them signed. You don't have a document in front of no lawyer that's going to represent the city. You're fired.
Yeah.
You are disbarred because
What
there's
about
corruption.
charges? What about charges?
Charges need to be laid. Charges need to be laid. I'm one of those who feel strongly that unless we start charging some of these people,
It'll just keep going on.
they'll just keep going, and
Yeah.
and the wannabe politicians will always come to us, and they somehow manage to convince the people. I don't know why. They somehow seem to manage to convince the people that what they're doing is good, all in the best interest for the people.
Right, yeah.
And we believe
Okay,
them.
yeah, yeah.
They're so slick.
They're slick. They
They're
look
slick,
good.
they're
They sound
smooth,
good.
They
Yeah.
sound good.
Yeah.
They look good, and they're smooth. But at the end of the day, I am all about performance. The one question I asked Pat Martin, what have you done? He hasn't done anything. Couldn't answer the question. He calls me name, son ever you know what. So every single mayoral candidate, you will be asked by me this civic election, what have you done for Winnipeg? So you better be prepared to answer that. Because if you haven't done anything for the homeless, you haven't done anything for solving the issue of crime, you haven't done anything for the meth in the streets, you haven't done anything for any of that. Okay, you can't talk to me about safety. You can't talk to me about prosperity. You can't talk to without you addressing those issues. But most importantly, you have to address them from the viewpoint of things that you have done to solve them.
That's right. In the
How-
past, what,
in
5
the
years,
past,
10
5.
years?
You could go back as far as
Does
20
it count
years.
if it's part of your business? If somebody hired you from your business consulting business and hire you to work on their project for them, and you got paid $100,000 for
Well,
that? Does that
people-
count?
No, it doesn't, because
Yeah.
you're getting paid to do something more than you're doing something from the heart.
Right. Right.
So if you care about the environment, you'd have done something about it. If you care about housing, you'd have done something about it. If you care about homelessness, you'd have done something about it. If you care about safety, you'd have done something about it. If you care about the economy of Winnipeg and the how we are gouged, you'd have done something about it. So anything that you're going to come to me with, anything you're going to label on your platform, anything you're going to state that you are going to do about, first of all, you better be prepared to put on your document, your printed material to the public, that you have done something on these issues and you believe this is the path forward. Less than that, it's hogwash.
That's true.
It's literally baloney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to Ottawa very shortly.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to the minister. We're going to have a summit on homelessness.
Yes.
What is the biggest topic you want to discuss? What is the biggest facet of homelessness that you want to discuss in Ottawa?
I will hopefully bring the consciousness with respect to per capita in terms of dollars being spent. If you put $50 million towards the housing issue in Toronto, it's a drop in the bucket. You put $10 million towards the homeless issue in Manitoba, it could probably solve it. Okay? So we need to look at it per capita and see how best we can advocate for, let's find ways and means of solving homelessness rather than spending money, throwing money at it for people to hire more people to go do a census, do a survey.
Yeah, because
You know,
we've
the
done that
city-
many, many times now, have we not?
You know, the city recently had a summit downtown, Winnipeg, a safety summit. $3.5 million allocated for what?
What are they going to do with it?
What are you going to
Yeah.
do with it?
Yeah.
I want to see a state where, where we get to the point in the city of Winnipeg that if we're going to spend $3.5 million of taxpayers' money, zero out of the $3.5 million go towards salaries. Okay? Zero. And I mean zero. There was a time when City Hall, all the councillors were community individuals who were volunteers.
Yeah, they were. They were unpaid.
Unpaid people who want to serve the community.
Yeah.
I want more of that. I want more people who want to serve, because what happened is everybody end up with boards after boards after boards.
Oh my, yeah.
And people get line up to sit on this board and that board. Some of them don't even show up, and there's the $1,000 or $2,000 is given to them for having a meeting.
Oh my.
After boards after boards
Yeah.
after boards,
Yeah.
There comes a point when that all have to stop. And I believe one of the issue in solving that is to have a new sheriff in town, so to speak. We need a new set of
We need a new set of rules. We need a new set of
guidelines.
Yes,
For
absolutely.
the bureaucrats. You want to keep your job, you have to perform.
But even
And
for politicians.
even for politician,
Yep.
in order to keep your job with the city of Winnipeg, you must perform. And performance does not mean you show up every day for work. That's not performance.
That's not performance.
Okay, performance is if you have a head of department, you have to be able to every year show me how you can make it more efficient, and you make it more cost effective without us raising taxes to solve the issue.
Well, my perspective of the homeless veterans is that a lot of our veterans don't get the recognition that they need. In fact, if they say they are veterans, a lot of people don't believe the fact that they are veterans because of the way they look, because they're down and out. Because I know how that is to be down and out, because I reached rock bottom in my lifetime, and I'd have people turn around, come to call me down, call me a bum and everything, and I turn around and I'd look at them and say, you know what? I'm a First Nations veteran, and you know what? I did time for my country so that you and your family could sleep safely in your beds at night and wake up in the morning to a free world. And that, but yet you can't give me the respect that I need, because I say, like, even though I'm down and out, I want an extra change so I can get a coffee or something to eat, and this is how we get treated. And then you say that I'm not a vet. I said, there's a lot of things like that going on with all our vets.
We don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. We don't know what to like. Most people here don't they give up.
You're seeing young as 18 being homeless on the street.
Oh no! That I see younger than that where I was living.
Oh my man.
They're younger age and that is living on the street, and they just go do do all kinds of criminal activities, you know.
These children here,
Yeah.
you know, they're so young you wouldn't believe, and they're homeless.
There's a lot of that happening. There's so many people in jail, like ending up in jail, especially ever since the mess came out.
Because they're young, they're smart, but the drugs got them here, you know.
Yeah, so do you see a lot of meth on the street now
Yes, I
versus
do.
before?
Yeah.
Because they do a lot of drugs in this area here.
Okay.
I thought crack was bad, but meth is really bad.
Meth is really
These
bad.
people need help.
They need help.
Yeah.
They got nowhere to go,
Okay.
you know, because the drugs, their family would kick them out and that they're lost.
This stuff is really, I've seen it all. I've seen a lot of stuff happening, and
Yeah.
it's not good. People are dying like left and right every day.
Oh my.
Yeah, even kids are doing that too.
This is what it is. This is not a shanty town. This is Winnipeg, Manitoba. Today we're talking about homelessness.
I've been on the streets. I've been homeless.
Okay.
I've eaten out of garbage bins. I've slept underneath bridges. I've just been really scared.
I want to see people have a place where they can feel safe. Now, till now, the shelters, places like that, are helping folks.
Yes.
But it's a short-term thing. It's you reach about this level, and then it's not going any further. You're not getting folks to get off the street permanently. We need to go from here, and we need to go to here.
What would you think the city of Winnipeg needs to do or can do to improve this situation? We have to look at ways and means to do a little bit more than we're doing now. We can do a lot more, but I think if we start by just finding the solution, we have the information already. We have done the studies, we have done the census, we have done all the things that we need to do to inform us. If you had to talk to the federal minister now, what would you say to them?
I would say nobody needs to live like this because what wrong did I do? I didn't do nothing wrong, just being sick and going to the hospital.
Okay.
You know, that's the only wrong thing I did, to be sick. And my whole life has been destroyed. Everything I worked for is in that house, and I lost it all.
Support them a little bit more. Give them the help that they need.
And we have met a few that have been on the street. We have discussion with them, and we have met a few even who have gone and spent some time doing things they're not supposed to be doing, but they're not proud of it. But at the same time, they recognize that the needs.
I don't know why. I don't know why it's happening. Why government is not helping us.
people here.
Yeah, the people here.
So if you had to speak to the minister, Veterans Affairs, or just any government federal minister, what would you say to them this morning if you had a chance to talk to them about what's happening? What would you say to them?
I would say ask them if like why aren't we getting help? Like that's why a lot of us are like there's a lot of vandalism. There's a lot of a lot of criminal stuff happening, and there's also like a lot of people are getting hurt. People are getting killed.
So we end up with buildings like this one and others that are empty while people are homeless.
The buildings that are downtown,
Yes.
why couldn't they turn some of them into like shelters?
It costs the taxpayers more money to have these folks on the street that are homeless and the veterans on the street.
Even our welfare doesn't really help us. My band doesn't help me. Right? I asked for help so many times.
And which band are you from?
Nelson House.
We end up spending more than if we were to house them and give them an opportunity to move from their current state to a state where they're comfortable with.
Hopefully in the future that us homeless people, that we can get a safer place to live.
Solution number one would be to make sure the city takes stock of all derelict homes.
Like, and so we don't have to live like this.
Okay.
And for the workers to help us out too. Like,
Yeah. Solution one is to know how many derelict homes we have in the city that's boarded up, as well as derelict buildings that are empty. This one is empty. The next question is, instead of us building a brand new 50-foot tower downtown Winnipeg, let us revitalize the community. Let us redevelop the community by investing some of that money, because it will take a fraction of that 40 or 50 or 60 million dollars that the city is going to put out to convert this building, for example, into shelter, into homes. And
But weren't we talking about if we take a building like this, make it into like little apartments kind of style for the homeless,
affordable, with the word affordable.
or affordable, yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
But then we put a business into it that the folks who live in this place actually work at that business that's in that place.
Unfortunately, there's nobody paying enough attention to this.
Just like back in World War One, World War Two, like our First Nations people, like we never got that recognition. The problems that we go through, and like the psychological problems that you go through when you're in there. You're nothing when you're in there at first, like everybody else. You're nothing, but then you start working your way up. But with our First Nations people, like, we don't get the recognition we need when we get out. You see all these white people, they get all the band fare and everything, people congratulating them, meeting them and all this. Our First Nations people, not a thing. Yeah, look at Tommy Prince, for instance, when he got out. He never really got the recognition that he needed, even though he put his life on the line for a lot of Canadian soldiers. And what did he do? They gave him a bone and let him raise the flag and lower it. Just like Ira Hayes in the States. But like, things have got to change for our First Nations people. We should get better recognition and get the same rights as the non-Aboriginals, as these white people get. They get health benefits. They get all the help that they need. They get the recognition that they need, except for our First Nations people. Why? That's what I want to ask the white community. Why don't we get that recognition? You look at us as savages all the time, and that we don't know what we're talking about, that we're uneducated. Me, I'm educated. I've been educated for a long time, but people just look at me as an Indian. And I like to be looked at as a human being, not an Indian. Because our people, we look at everybody as human beings. We all bleed the same. Nobody bleeds any different color.